Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. 20 years. Wow, that's all I have to say. It seems amazing to me that that journey has been that long. It has been an incredible journey, and I consider myself very privileged to be part of it. And I know that everyone here has played a part in that journey as well, and I'm incredibly grateful. Well, I have the privilege this morning of introducing Mayor Chris Beitler to talk to you, but before I do, I would like to tell you about his impact on CHE, and that is even before he was mayor. You know, when Lincoln General Hospital was sold, the community asked us, they instructed us really, to create an endowment that would last for generations to come. And we knew early on that there was a major obstacle for that to happen. Because as a municipal endowment, as a fund created with city funds, we were not able to diversify our investment options. There was actually part of the Nebraska Constitution that did not allow us to do that. And so that left us very little opportunity to grow the fund, which meant that we would not be able to return the kind of funds back to the community that we had hoped. So the only way for us to change that, the only way for us to diversify our portfolio was to amend the Nebraska State Constitution. That is not an easy task. And in fact, it was something that most people believed and told us would be impossible. So the road to amending the Nebraska State Constitution begins with the Nebraska legislature. And senators have to agree that the issue would be placed on the ballot. And we knew that we would have to have a champion in the legislature to help us accomplish that. After all, we were really the only community that was going to benefit from this amendment. So we went to Chris Beitler, then a state senator, and he said yes, he would be our champion in the legislature. And he lived up to that promise. He fought for every single vote. And the first miracle of this journey was that issue was placed on the ballot. Now, keep in mind that the amendment now faced approval by a majority of voters in the state of Nebraska. And so it was something, again, having approval of this issue, this amendment to the Nebraska State Constitution that people told us was impossible. So I took a 6-week leave of absence. Many people, I know Mike Tavlin will remember this, and I traveled around Nebraska and I talked about the amendment, and I visited senior centers, and I went to libraries and Chamber of Commerce luncheons and all of these places. And the election came and we lost. We weren't sure what we would do then. We had already been told that we were already on a road where a couple of miracles had already occurred. But our only choice was to return to the legislature and ask them to put it back on the ballot the following year. People said that is not going to happen. The voters had spoken, the issue was done. So now Mayor Beitler, again, continued to work on our behalf. And he went back to his former colleagues in the legislature, and again, a miracle of sorts occurred. And the legislature agreed to put it back on the ballot for a second time. But it was our last chance, they told us. So we went to work again. We used the lessons from our first attempt, and this time, against all odds, we succeeded. Mayor Beitler was an incredible part of allowing the endowment to grow and flourish to what it is today, because we were allowed to diversify our portfolio, and we'll be forever grateful for that. So I will say that the tough work, those were some tough years where we had to go out and really learn a lot about how to talk about the work that we wanted to do in the future, but they did set the stage for the endowment that we would become. The lessons that we learned in those early days, that no problem was too big and that no challenge is too great, gave us considerable confidence that our new endowment could work to address big, complex problems. That we could work to address things like reducing childhood obesity and making medical homes available to everyone and reduce the stigma associated with mental illness. Really big issues that some cities are so challenged to face, but because of the endowment, we're able to do some work with our colleagues here in the community that is absolutely incredible. So Mayor Beitler, as a way of introduction, thank you for your support in those early years, and thank you for your support ever since. It's really been a pleasure to work with you from the very beginning.
Well, I thank Lori for those kind words. And those of you who have worked with Lori over the years know and understand what a great pleasure that was and what a great compensation that was to me to be able to work with her on these tough problems. But the bottom line is that the real work, the hard work, the day-to-day work, the project-by-project work, since those moments at the creation has been done by Lori and her staff and all of the great volunteers that have supported the endowment. So that's what I wanted to talk a little bit about today, the history of how it began and the history of some of the things that were done to get to this very fine moment in time when we have a highly functional, highly efficient, highly effective endowment in place. I wanted to thank Lori, first of all, of course, for inviting me here today to help kick off this 20th anniversary. And remembering back on the unique history of the endowment actually goes back 22 years because as Lori has recited, the process began actually before the creation, of course, of the entity. But people need to remember many of the things that happened, and I'm glad you recited some of them because the point of partnership and the point of cooperation and the point of civilly working together is made so dramatically by this one example of this organization. It was way back in 1996 when city leaders looked at the rapidly changing nature of healthcare in the city and in the country and wondered if what was at that time a city-owned hospital could keep up with the pace of things. From the beginning, it was decided that public input would guide the process, and that's how we've continued to make decisions within this organization and broadly across the community in Lincoln, and I think one of the great things about Lincoln. But it was then Mayor Mike Johanns who appointed an advisory committee to investigate the options that existed for addressing Lincoln General Hospital. That committee held public hearings, did a public survey, interviewed dozens and dozens of stakeholders, and together Lincoln residents reached a consensus on community values that would in turn drive the eventual sale of Lincoln General to Bryan Health. And when that sale was finalized in late 1997, another mayoral task force took another public process on to determine what to do with the proceeds of the sale. That included consultations with local and national health experts, more public hearings, a community hotline, and one of the very first uses of the internet to gather public opinion. In March of 1998, that task force issued its recommendation, a health endowment that would serve our community in perpetuity. The vision to help Lincoln become the healthiest nation in the community, and I've heard that year in and year out. That hasn't changed. A third round of public input included a series of listening tours, public meetings, stakeholder surveys, and online comments. In June of 1998, the task force formally recommended the creation of the Community Health Endowment of Lincoln, recommended it to the mayor and to the city council. The endowment then officially was added to the city charter in August of 1998. Listen to this. The original value of the proceeds of the sale of Lincoln General Hospital was about $37 million. The current value of the endowment is more than $63 million. that means that the original investment has kept up with inflation and then some. It has, in short, been very well managed over the years. But the true value of all of that, of course, is the investments that the endowment has made back into the community. This year, it surpassed, I believe, $30 million in grants that have been awarded over the years. $30 million. And just over a few years, CHI has given back more to the community than the original value, dollar value of the sale. And of course, that's just the beginning. Here are just a few of the highlights of the first 20 years. Thanks to the 2002 Blueprint Project, another public input process, Lincoln became the home to what is now Bluestem Health. This federally qualified health center now serves more than 14,000 patients a year, and many of those are uninsured and underinsured. In 2016, following years of planning and collaboration, Lincoln finally welcomed Health 360. This clinic joins the services of Bluestem Health and Lutheran Family Services, thank you, Lutheran Family Services, to fully integrate care for mental and physical health. The Health 360 campus is also home to legal services, early childhood care, parenting classes, cooking classes, and many farmers markets, all in one of the highest need areas of our city. It is a fantastic vision that is now coming true. In 2009, we formed the Mayor's Blue Ribbon Task Force on the Healthcare Safety Net, yet another public process. In this effort, the endowment and Lancaster County Medical Society are making sure that every person in this community who wants a medical home has one. The endowment was instrumental in forming the Partnership for a Healthy Lincoln. This organization has been instrumental in lowering Lincoln's overall childhood obesity rate to less than 15% in just 4 years. CHI's groundbreaking Place Matters community mapping project, a recent endeavor, showed us that not all of Lincoln's neighborhoods share equally in good health. The endowment and its community partners are using data now to reduce these inequities and address some of the root causes of poor health, such as poverty, of course, and childhood toxic issues. The endowment and the city have partnered to turn one of the government access cable channels into a health and wellness channel, and that we believe to be the only one of its kind in the nation. At the CHI website, you'll find a list of more than 560 grants that have been made over the last 20 years. This website also has great information about Place Matters, Healthy Humans of Lincoln, impact stories, and much, much more. As I mentioned earlier, the Community Health Endowment was established with funds that belonged to the people of Lincoln, and the endowment has indeed, once again, I would assert, made very wise use of those funds to benefit the entire community. So I wish you all happy birthday, and extending my congratulations and thanks to all of those involved, the many, many folks on the board who over the years have put in so much time and effort to such good effect. And it's my pleasure to introduce Michael Molvar, who is the current chair of the Board of Trustees, and he's going to recognize some of the leaders who over the years have helped CHI accomplish so much in their first 20 years. But before he does that, it's a rare occasion when you get to a 20th anniversary and the leader is still the leader, the leader who was the leader at the creation is now is still the leader of an organization that has been making progress towards maturity and ever greater accomplishment. And I think it's a rare thing for a leader to be so effective for such a long period of time and so flexible as to recognize changing circumstances along the way and taking the organization to a relevant position on all modern questions. And I think that's a compliment to the leader and a compliment to the boards that have served. And Lori, you are a treasure.
You are a treasure.
Thank you, Mayor Beitler, for the introduction and for your leadership of the city and your commitment to CHE and to the people of Lincoln. Mayor Beitler carries on a tradition of a whole generation of leaders in Lincoln who have brought CHE to this point in its history. Part of my task today is welcome on to recognize some of those leaders. CHE has enjoyed the support of 5 mayors: Mayor Mike Johans, Mayor Dale Young, Mayor Don Wesley, Mayor Colleen Sang, and of course, Mayor Beitler. All of those mayors have looked beyond their own office to ensure that CHE can work for the good of the people of Lincoln. The mayor appoints the members of CHE's Board of Trustees, and we appreciate the thoughtfulness and diligence that each of the mayors has shown in carrying out that activity. Several members of our current Board of Trustees are with us today. I'd like to introduce them, those that are in the room. Janice Walker, Don Hertz, Dan Marvin, Patrick Vance in the back, Carol Burt over here, Diana Shimmick right next to her, Kim Russell, Shavana Loster, and Eric Buchanan. There are several past members of the board who are with us as well. Tom Beckius, I saw there's over in the corner. Dr. Marty Ramirez, Ed Wimes, Mike Tavlin, Brett Miller, and Chuck Wilson, Dr. Chuck Wilson. Are there any other trustees and former trustees who I've missed in the audience? Got it. Found everyone there. Well, thank you for showing up today. We thank all of them for their service. An extra note of thanks to Mike Taflin. His service goes way back to the very beginning of CHE. In 1996, he served on the original advisory committee to investigate options for Lincoln General. He followed with service on the task force that made the recommendation to create CHE, and served twice on the CH Board of Trustees, including 2 terms as the chair. When he hasn't been serving on the board, he has served as an advisor to the Financial Committee. Thanks, Mike, for being here for CHE for all these years. True to its history, CHE continues to engage the community in our work. We've shared the results of our Place Matters community mapping project with thousands of Lincolnites over the last 3 years and helped Lincoln picture health in an entirely different way. And Lori, of course, is responsible for championing that program. Every year, CHE hosts a series of community conversations on the importance of health topics. A couple hundred people attend these events each year, but hundreds more see them thanks to the city and its LNK TV health channel the mayor mentioned, and on a YouTube health channel. This year's topics include caring for aged loved ones, stop the bleed, postpartum depression, and solving poverty with two-generation approach. We're already working on next year's series and invite ideas from the community that we might address in next year's series. Every year, our applicant shops reach nearly 100 people whose organizations are interested in applying for funding from CHE. And of course, many of them apply for grants from CHE. CHE has held an annual meeting in each of its 20 years. They've been very well attended, especially recently, reaching more than 300 people in each of the last couple of years. This year, instead of having one meeting on one day, we're turning our annual meeting into a year-long birthday party. And we're taking it to the streets. We've created Health 2020, a series of 20 events to occur over the course of the next year, spaced throughout the year. From a pop-up dental shop to a read aloud festival to training on life-saving stop-the-bleed technique, Health 2020 will engage the community in a different way and in different fun ways. So hopefully all of you can participate in those. There's another person you've already heard about who's been with CHE since before the beginning. I'm going to turn the things over to her to share her more thoughts and details about Health 2020 and then some thoughts about CHE's future. All of us leaders involved with CHE have been fortunate to work with Lori Seibel. Lori started as a staff person on the original Mayor's Advisory Committee, has served as CHE's president and CHE and CEO since its inception. Her vision and her ability to bring people together are well known in our community and are a key factor in CHE's accomplishments to date. So with thanks for your service, Lori, I turn the podium over to Lori Seibel. Lori.
Well, thank you both. Before I go any further, I do want to also recognize three other important people in our audience. One of them is Jody Lose. Jody is our office manager. She's been working with me for a long time. I often say we're a little bit like an old married couple at this point. But I think you started 6 weeks after I did. Is that right? And our first day together, we sat at our desks and we wondered what we were going to put in all these drawers. And we've since answered that question. Lots and lots and lots of paper, but Jody has been there since the very beginning as well and has been part of all of the success of the endowment. Marcia White has our program manager. She has been with the endowment, you'll have to help me now, 5 years? 5 years. And so she is really the voice and the person that talks to so many people that we work with in the community and keeps things organized like today, certainly, and I'm grateful to her. And Ashley is our communications intern. We get great students from the university, and she's also responsible for leading our efforts related to Health 2020, which I'm going to be telling you about, our year-long birthday party. So to celebrate 20 years of promoting health, of really working hard to make Lincoln the healthiest community in the nation, we are sponsoring a series of 20 birthday parties. We are going to be out working on these health-related events throughout our community. We're going to partner with local organizations to produce these events, and over the course of the year, we will be in many of Lincoln's neighborhoods, so we want you all to watch for events near you. Every one of these events will be free, and they will be open to the public. The first 7 events are going to take place over the course of the next 3 months, and they're on the card that is at your seat. The first one is tomorrow. Our first pop-up dental shop we will be having on Wednesday, July 11th from 2 to 4 at Belmont Park. We will be there at 12th and Judson Street in partnership with the Lincoln-Lancaster County Health Department and the Lincoln Parks and Recs Department in order to share dental kits with kids and families who come and visit us. We're going to pop up, we're going to be there, and we hope that you join us. We're going to be partnering on July 25th from 3 to 4, partnering with Bryan Health for a Stop the Bleed training. We want folks to come in. If they're the individuals who are often on scene first in the case of a car accident or some other kind of bleeding event is a bystander. We all need to know how to apply a tourniquet, and this is a great way to do that. We will provide you with tourniquets if you come to the training, and it is also free and open to the public. We'll be having another pop-up dental shop on August 8th from 5 to 7 at Woods Park. And then we're moving over to the Calvert neighborhood, and we're going to have the ultimate block party on Sunday, August 26th from 2 to 4 in Henry Park. And this is in association with Union College, the Calvert Rec Center, and the Calvert Community Learning Center. There's going to be music, games, and an opportunity for neighbors to get to know each other. Then Healthy Husker Tailgate is going to be on August 29th from 4 to 6 at Blue Stem Health on North 27th Street. Again, healthy food. We're going to be having music, all kinds of fun there, so please plan to join us. On Friday, September 14th, we'll be at Tower Square over the lunch hour for a pop-up fresh fruit stand called Fruit on the Go. Stop by and pick up some fresh fruit to get you powered through the rest of the afternoon on that day. And we're doing that in partnership with the Lincoln Food Bank, as well as the Downtown Lincoln Association. And then finally, on Sunday, September 23rd, we're sponsoring the Get Fit Fun Run in association with Streets Alive out in Belmont Park at 12th and Johnson Street. And this is in association with Partnership for a Healthy Lincoln and Streets Alive. So lots of things happening in the next 3 months, and every one of them is to be a way to celebrate Lincoln and all of the emphasis that we've put on health here as a community and all the organizations that have worked hard to make this a healthier community. So again, more information is available about those at the cards on your chair, as well as in your packet and on our website. We're planning more events as we speak. We have 13 more to go. We're looking forward to partnering with Read Aloud Lincoln, Leadership Lincoln, other groups in our community to make these events happen. We also have T-shirts that we hope you'll begin to see around town. We'll have one for you, Mayor. You can wear those to one of the events. And we hope this yellow T-shirt will be a sign that we're in the neighborhood celebrating health. Well, as a way of closing, I wanted to say that recently I spoke to a group of high school students, and I asked them how many of them remembered Lincoln General Hospital, and not a single hand went up. I think at that moment I knew that there was a generation of Lincolnites who grew up without living with that piece of Lincoln's history. And what I told them then was that what grew out of Lincoln General Hospital or the Community Health Endowment was our legacy to them. It's our legacy to them and to future generations. We have worked hard for 20 years to create a better and healthier place for ourselves, but also for them. And we will truly have succeeded in accomplishing the charge that the community gave us if someday, and I hope not too far away, they look at what we've created and they know that we did it with them in mind. This fall, we will hold another press conference to announce 2 legacy projects to celebrate, again, our 20th anniversary. These are going to be major initiatives for our community with funding of more than $1.5 million. And they, again, have been created with our youngest residents and their families in mind. We're excited to tell them about them very, very soon. So I'll end my comments on a personal note, and that is that the last 20 years have been both a joy and a privilege. It's not lost on me that I have had a unique and incredible opportunity to be president of this organization. I remember very well the emotions that swirled in Lincoln during that period around the sale of Lincoln General Hospital. There was fear, there was sadness, there was frustration, but I can also tell you, having lived through it very intimately, that there was hope and that there was a sense of opportunity. And it was in those emotions, in that hope and opportunity, that we took root, that CHE took root, and where we have flourished for 20 years. And so that is what we will continue to do every day. We will look for hope, we will look for opportunity, we will continue to improve healthcare access and dental health and mental health services. We'll continue to pursue a diversity of voices around Lincoln's decision-making tables. We will continue to improve access to healthy food and services to vulnerable children and early childhood services to children. We will focus on giving children the very best start in life and make it easier for everyone to develop healthy choices and avoid chronic illness. And we will do our very best to make sure our older adults can age well in this community. And we will do what we have always done, and that is to depend on this community with public input and participation to guide our decisions as stewards of these community assets. We will always need and depend on strong leadership from the City of Lincoln and from these Board of Trustees that I hold in such high regard, both present and past. So there is an old saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And our belief in going together with the community has brought us from just this idea that I remember percolating around tables long ago to where we are today. And I can only imagine where we'll be 20 years from now. I want to thank you all for your part in this journey and appreciate the fact that you chose to spend your morning with us. Thank you so much.